Okay, let's look at this first one. We're dividing exponents, right? So the way we're going to set this up is we're going to write the numbers are the same, right? The 5. So we're dealing with the 5 and the 8. So we're going to write 5 and then 8 minus 6. Okay? Do me a favor. Pull your headphones out. Have you had this before? Does anybody? Okay, cool. So in division, we just write the base down, right? And then we write the exponents. Make sure you put this one first, okay? Because if you transpose these, then you're going to get one that's negative or whatnot, and that's going to be a problem, right? Because we have to take that negative one and write it as a fraction, right? Okay, so what is 8 minus 6? And what is the answer to this? What's 5 times 5? 25. Good. Remember, this key on your calculator is your friend, right? Do you know what that key means?
Yeah.
Exponents, okay? You press the number of the base, press that key, put in the exponent number, press the key again, and it'll tell you what the answer is. Now that's important because we're going to get to some that are some pretty large numbers, okay? Especially when we get to scientific.
What's something that'll help me 5 times 2? 5 times 2, and then but it's 5 times 5.
Yeah, it's always the base times itself. All this means, think of it this way, I had a student in my second period class that said it well. How do they say it?
Yeah, because I always do 5 times 2.
Right, it's a common mistake, but it's 5 times 5. So it's times itself and then the result of it times itself and so on. So you just have to remember, it's 5 times 5. The 2 doesn't matter at the end of the day, it's just how many times.
Okay.
Okay, so we're done with this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to start to work on this one. Okay, we're gonna group our 2's together. Okay, we're going to do the same exact thing that we did here. There's just more numbers. Okay, so we're going to write 2 minus 9, right? 2, they're both 2. 2 minus 9. Okay, we're done with our 2's, aren't we?
That's 9? Oh, you said change.
Yes, yeah. If on your notes it says 3, but I wanted to give you a negative example, so make sure that you change that 3 on your notes to a 9, please. So you understand where these numbers are coming from. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with 3. So we're 3, 4, 5, and then we don't have anything to do the 4, so we're just going to write the 4.
Wait, 4 minus 5 or?
4 to the 4th. No, not minus. All I did was the first step. So I put the 8 and the 6 and the exponents, I subtracted them, I simplified it, I solved it. So I'm doing the same exact thing here. But how I group these is I group them by the same basis. 2's, 3's. There's only one 4, so 4 is done. There's nothing for me to do to the 4. Are we clear? Okay, so let's go ahead and solve. So we're 2, and this is why this order matters, okay? Negative 7, okay? And then 3, negative 1, and then 4 to the 4th. Now, do you remember in 7.1 or 7.2 when we had a negative y? When we had this? How do we simplify that?
Put the y down. What was that? Put it in the fraction.
Like that?
Yeah.
Yes. This is the same thing here, even though it's numbers and we can solve it. Okay? We want to do this. So look what's going to happen here. These 2 are going to go at the bottom. Okay? So it's going to be 2 to the 7th times 3. Do I need to write 1 up there?
No.
I don't. Now simplify, we never write the 1, right? And then it's going to be 4 over 4, right?
Yeah.
But we're not done yet, but we have it to a point that we can solve it now. Okay? So everyone take your calculator because I want you to practice with these keys. Okay? I want you to put 2 in here. I want you to press your exponent key. Some of them look like, most of them are like this. If you can't find it on your calculator, I'll let you know where it's at. The Casio is the hardest one. Do you know where it's at?
Yes, you can.
Yes, very good. Okay, So put 2 in here, press that key, press 7, and press the key again, and tell me what the number is.
128.
Very good. That's how you use the calculator to do exponents, okay? Because pretty soon we get to some pretty nutty exponents, don't we?
Yes.
Very, very high numbers when you're dealing with scientific notation, okay? All right, so we know that this number is what?
128.
128, okay?
2 times 3?
Yep, 128 times 3 is what?
384.
384. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to do it over here. And we're going to be doing this here pretty soon. So this one's 384. I'm going to write it right here, and you'll see why in just a second. Okay, now we got to deal with the top. Well, what's 4 to the power of 4? Someone?
256.
Is it? No, that might be right. That is right. Okay, now follow me just for a second. I'm going to show you what's going to happen here. So we know our answer is 384 over 256, okay? I'm going to show you how it is that we can factor this to make it easier, okay? Maybe. Marshall, can you man the calculator for me real quick? Please?
Huh?
Can you man the calculator for me? Run these calculations. Okay. We're going to divide everything by 2 until we get to something that's divisible by 3. Watch this. Take 384 and divide it by 2. Tell me what the answer is.
192.
Thank you. Okay, 192 divided by 2.
96.
96 divided by 2.
48.
48 divided by 2.
24.
24 divided by 2.
12. 6.
Okay, does everyone understand what I did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do the same thing for 256. Go.
128. 96. 48. And it's the same thing going down. Same thing. It'll be 24, 12, 6, 6.
I'm going to show you something. Mess up this color is so strong. Okay, watch this. Here's our numbers, right? We can get rid of these and keep going. It's what they have in common, okay? What's left over? Actually, this isn't right. This isn't right. Let's check it. 256 divided by 2, 128. Oh, right there.
128.
It's right here. What's 128 divided by 2?
64.
There we go. That's where the difference is. Okay, keep going. 64.
32.
Okay.
16.
There we go.
8. 2.
8,
4.
2, and 4.
Yeah.
Or excuse me. Yeah, 4, and then 2. Okay. So essentially, what we're doing here is for each one, we're canceling out what's similar, right? Then we have what's left over. Guess what? We just factored this all the way down from that crazy number. Now, it normally doesn't happen this way. It isn't this big, right? It isn't this long. Those were big numbers, okay? So we know that all this nonsense, 256 to 384, is 2/3. This is what's left over. We can factor it by 1, but we don't consider factor by 1. Everything goes to the factor of 1, right? Okay, so we know that this became this. 2/3, right? Do we see that?
Yes.
Okay. We're done, right?
Yes.
We're finished. Any questions on that one? Okay, review. Group your bases together, subtract them. Make sure this one's listed first, this one's listed second, and that's important because of the negatives. And you'll see that as we get further along. Okay? Now, we got all the way down to here, right? These go down the bottom because they're negative. We turn them to a fraction, and this goes positive. And you'll see this through the examples. Any questions on those two? Okay, let's look at this one. How do I need to start this problem?
parentheses and multiplying by each other? Like
No.
multiply
No.
6, like,
No.
like multiply the 6 by...
You go ahead and you do the 6 minus, or 15 and the 6 minus.
Very good. We want to reduce the fraction first, okay? Because those are numbers. And notice, we have a buffer, the x in between the 6. When you get here, that's going to be correct because it's inside parentheses. So that exponent is going to apply to everything that's inside there. But notice, this 6 just goes to that x. It doesn't go to the 15 because it's not in parentheses. Okay? So we're going to reduce this right from the get-go. What's 15 divided by 5? What's 15 divided by 5?
3.
Oh, good. All right. Now watch this. Don't get confused or tricked up on this, okay? We took care of this. Now we got to deal with the 6's, right? So we're going to write x, 6 minus 6. So what is my answer? 3x, what is this right here?
6.
What is this right up here?
0.
1.
Oh.
Why is it?
Because anything to the power of 0 is 1. So this becomes 3 times 1. Our answer is 3. So the entire answer to this entire problem is 3. Okay, let's go through this one more time. Divide the fraction first, okay? By the way, even when we get to scientific, the same thing. If it's a decimal, we're going to use that number, okay? And you'll see that when we get there. So I want to divide this first, then I want to set up the exponents. Don't let your mind play tricks on you and think this is this. Is this number different than that? Yeah, it's entirely different. That right there is just x. That right there is 1. If this were just x, the answer would be this, right? Okay, so if it's 0, write the 0, turn it to 1, put it in parentheses, multiply it out. Okay? Any questions on this one? Okay. Do I have anything to move up or down on this?
No.
Sure. No. There's no negatives here, there's no negatives here, right? If this were negative, I'd put it up to the top. If we're negative on the top, I'd put it to the bottom. Are we clear? So we don't need to do that. This problem is identical to this one, and so on. So we're going to group our A's. A, 5 minus 3. B, 6 minus 7. Okay? And then we're going to solve it. So A is 2, and B is minus 1. Now I have a question. Jose, it's your time to shine, buddy. Give it to me. Come on.
You go and you got the H on top on the fraction.
Excellent. B, what goes on the bottom?
B1?
Just B, right?
There you go. We don't, just like this, we don't write that in algebra.
Okay.
This simplified is this. Okay? Just like we don't write it like that. That doesn't exist. That's not a simplified answer.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Now
It's that. Everything's at least to the power of 1. That's done. That's our final answer. Now, can I erase this?
Yes.
You guys got this concept? Okay. First off, teaching. I want you to look at this problem for a minute. Pretty impressive problem, isn't it? Do you know how to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how to do it. How impressive is that? Yeah, isn't it? I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you to write this problem down, and whoever's at home, I want you to hand it to them and ask them to solve it.
Okay.
I can promise you most people do not know how to solve this problem.
Like,
Like, ask my dad.
Possibly. Possibly.
I'm here to do this.
I'm gonna ask my smart cousin.
So we can solve this, right? We have all the directions to solve this, okay? So how we're going to start this problem is we're going to start with the interior parentheses, right? We're just following PEMDAS. So we're going to follow these inside parentheses. And you covered it. What do we do with this? How do I start this problem? Yeah. Now we distribute backwards, right? We're going to take this 2, we're going to distribute it here, and the B there, right? So we're going to rewrite this. We're going to be A3, and I got to make sure I leave myself room on this problem because this problem is a little bit long. So we're A3, 2 in parentheses, and I'll go through this again, B2. I'm not doing anything to the top. Now let me explain what I did here. I took this 2, this exponent,
The other bracket.
We're not there yet. I'm just getting you to this first step right here. So we took the 2 and we multiplied it by 3. That's why the exponents is in parentheses. Are we clear? Because that means we're multiplying those exponents. Then this 2, there's nothing to multiply here. It's 1. It's 2 times 1, so we can just write this as b2. Okay? We don't do anything to this one yet. Okay? So now I'm going to put the parentheses, and I'm going to put 2 on the outside. Okay? Do we understand the first step?
Yes.
Okay, I dealt with the interior parentheses first, the very inner ones. And it would be this, because these are the outer parentheses. Okay? So I'm going to take this 2, this exponent, and I'm going to multiply both of these by this. So 3 times 2 and 2 times 1. So it becomes this. Okay? And then everything, I didn't do anything to here yet, because there's nothing here. There's no interior parentheses. These interior parentheses don't impact that. It impacts
I
that.
thought it was gonna cancel out, Packer.
No, not really. Well, you'll see what happens.
Would it be like
Not yet.
What about the bottom one?
We have to-
6 too?
We have to,
the bottom first?
yeah, we have to solve this one first.
That's what I'm actually. What did it cancel out? That's what I was thinking about. Okay, what if? Because you know how.
You don't want to cancel out variables or numbers, and I'll show you why when we get down to here, and then also we cover
So
scientific
it'll be-
notation, because there's something that happens on the decimal.
Would it be A6 and B4 and the top?
Yeah. Obviously, we want to take care of this, right? So that's the first thing that we want to do. We're going to write A6, B2, right, and then A3 in parentheses, and then 2. Now we're going to distribute this 2 all the way across and all the way across, right? So we're going to rewrite it now. We're going to be A3, 2, parentheses, B6, 2, or excuse me, A, B2, 2. Understand? I just took the exponent, crumbs, and I distributed it across. So right here, and right here. Okay? Because all that's encompassed in those parentheses. Okay? Now we can start solving, right? We're going to be A6, A12, B4. Are we done?
Yeah.
No. We still have to deal with the A's, right? The B's are by themselves.
Oh.
Okay, so A6 minus 12, guess what happens here? B4. So solving this, A minus 6, B4. Someone tell me what the final answer is.
Put a 1 on top. So it'll be A6 over B4. Under B4.
Oh, and you kind of said it right in the end.
It'll be
So it'll be B4 over A6. Yeah.
Why? Because this is negative, it's got to go to the bottom, and then B4 goes to the top.
That's a lot of steps. to
Now we're
remember.
done. That's a pretty impressive problem. Like Keychain and I sat down and said, let's come up with a fun problem. He said, let's do this. I said, I feel you. Right? Be impressed. Be impressed. Okay, how about the next one?
Have
Same
somebody
thing,
do it.
this
Have
is
somebody
two.
do it. Go solve this one.
You want to try?
Me?
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Just do it.
You got to.
Or you want to tell me what to write and I'll write it.
That's more complicated.
Okay? Make things happen.
Hmm?
And walk us through what you're doing and how you're going about it. Make sure you write small enough that you leave yourself enough space.
Alright, so I'm gonna go like that,
Okay?
right?
Yep. Does it really need to be in parentheses? Okay. You could have if you wanted, but it wouldn't have mattered. That's the actual step that's in the textbook. Yeah, go ahead and take care of the exponents first. Now I have a question. How many terms, I'm going to give you a clue. How many terms inside those parentheses? There you go. So that negative 2 applies to both of them, doesn't it? Very good. So write them in separate parentheses.
This is too much work.
Shake him up, please.
I'm like, we're not high school.
Okay, good. Okay, put your dot in the middle between those two. Okay, now, Marshall, do me a favor. Take a step back from the problem real quick and look at that first fraction. Understand that it's numbers, but they're both negative exponents, right? So what are you going to do when you have two negative exponents, numerator and denominator?
Positive.
Plus. Flip. Flip.
Yep,
Hey, got any pencil?
We flip these.
quickly, but go that way, please.
You talking about this side of the problem or this side of the problem?
Start with there, because we got to go left to right, right? Okay, take care of that first.
What is that? That's 1, 2, right?
Remember what we do with the negatives. How do we get rid of a negative exponent?
Oh, yeah. One, these both go to the bottom?
Well, one goes to the top and one goes to the bottom, right?
They're both negative.
Right. So what do you do when both your exponents are negative? Do this. Right? Because this one went to the top and this one went to the bottom. That's good. So take all that and write it over there because you took care of the first part. Okay, does everyone understand that? When both your exponents are negative, you do the reciprocal, flip the numbers over, and when it's negative on the top and you put it on the bottom, it gets rid of the negative, right? And when you're negative on the bottom, you put it to the top, it gets rid of the negative. Okay? Okay, walk us through what you're doing now. Okay, be careful. Be careful. You're doing a crumbs on this one. What does she like to do? She likes to take the base and multiply it by the exponent. Is that our answer?
Oh, yeah. that is-
You right.
that
You
is
right.
mean. Ouch.
Okay, do it past your 3, 2. Yeah, keep going, keep going. Okay. Should I stop him or let it go? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna stop you. Okay? I'm gonna tell you to rewrite that fractions with the negatives to the bottom and the negatives on the bottom to the top. Okay? So put a dot next to your 3, 2. And then I want you to take the 3, 2 and put it on the bottom. Do not write it as a negative. Okay? And then the A2, put it up the bottom. Or I'm sorry, yeah, put it to the bottom. Anybody see that?
I can't. It's not.
Okay,
I guess some space.
Wait. I didn't know.
6 minus 12, it's negative 6. So A goes to the bottom, B4 goes to the top. Okay, good. Okay, now take that take the 2 and put that at the top, right? That's negative 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so put 2 to the power of 2 at the top, and then write B2. Now you can go solve that now, right? Yep. Okay, make it happen. Yeah, that was right.
So we do here.
Will you pass the class?
We have to do in class.
Okay. Okay, good. Now, do me a favor. You just took all this and you simplified it. So write this next to this and then go finish it. You just simplified this to this right here. This one's simplified too, right? So bring this down and then bring this down and then solve it. Okay, how do you solve that now? You want help?
I'll guess it. I'm guessing.
Yeah, don't guess. Multiply those. Multiply those. Fraction, 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 fraction. Yes, well, because that definitely, you write that with no fraction, it's not going to be right. Okay, you done with the problem? Not yet. There you go.